In this episode of Indonesia, we'll take you to experience the comforts of camping with Natra Bintan, a tribute portfolio resort. Go cable skiing on the waters of the largest man-made lagoon in Southeast Asia. And devour some unique street food at Tanjung Pinang's most iconic hawker center.
Come see the beauty, only on Indonesia!
Indonesia.
Welcome to Bintan, the largest island of the Riau archipelago and home to its capital city of Tanjung Pinang. This island is many things to many people. An idyllic summer getaway for folks from Singapore and Malaysia, a melting pot of Chinese and Malay cultures for its over 150,000 inhabitants. But for us, it's a sea of potential, and we're going to explore every inch of it, starting here. This is Natra Bintan, a tribute portfolio resort. One of the 19 independent beach resorts in the Bintan Resorts area, located on the island's northern coast. And what's unique about Natra Bintan is that instead of sleeping in a regular hotel room, you'll be staying or camping in a tent.
So glamorous camping or glamping is the concept here. As you can see, here we have clusters of very well-made, sturdy, and of course, very aesthetic tents. Now, as you can see, the outside's only half the story, so come with me inside and we'll see where the magic happens. And as you step in, you might be thinking to yourself, hey, that's not a tent, this is a hotel room. Well, I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, it is still the same tent, albeit with all the amenities of a modern hotel room. You have your big TV, you have the king-size bed, the ACs, which keep everything cool, and you even have a surprisingly fast Wi-Fi connection. And the tent itself is, of course, it's made up of 3 layers here, so you don't have to worry about any noises, you don't have to worry about heat, mosquitoes, or any of that. Of course, you have all your modern amenities as well. You have hair dryers, an ironing kit. You even have a special care package over here. So this is the bathroom. The main attraction of this bathroom is this huge whirlpool / hot tub kind of situation. Over here there are actually multiple options. Here you can set the bubbles on, and just for you, I'll set the bubbles on. I'll press this big button over here. Just like that, you have bubbles. Of course, the other main attraction here is the fact that there's a lot of natural light coming into the bathroom. That's because the bathroom is semi-outdoor, so you get that sort of natural vibe when you're taking a shower or chilling by the hot tub. So it's all packed up in this really nice, aesthetic, and very comfortable package.
Natra Bintan offers a total of 5 tent categories, which vary in location as well as in the amenities provided. If you're looking for privacy, perhaps you can opt into the garden tents or the glamping deluxe tent we just saw. But if you want to get closer to the action, then you've got to try the Lagoon View Deluxe tent.
With this particular tent, you have a couple of additional amenities that are not available in the previous one, such as, for example, this outdoor whirlpool, which I can imagine is only going to be absolutely amazing during those really cold nights and you want to chill outdoors. But if this pool is too small for you, then boy do I have something else. Because right in front of your tent, you get a clear path straight into the Crystal Lagoon. Now, you're gonna want to see this one.
That's right, this is the main attraction, and one of the first things you'll notice when you enter the resort. The Crystal Lagoon is a pristine, turquoise, man-made seawater lagoon measuring at a whopping 6.3 hectares. Guests who opt for the lagoon view tents are treated to a stunning view of the lagoon right on their front yard. After getting my feet wet on the slip and slide, I decided that it's time for something a little more challenging. The cable ski. It's like water skiing, albeit with a cable. Pretty self-explanatory. So, after getting a quick lesson from the instructor and getting fitted with the proper gear, I was ready to roll. I had to admit, this was a lot simpler when the instructor did it. And after wiping out several times in a row and getting a good amount of seawater up my nose, I was ready to call it quits. But nevertheless, I continued to crack on.
Okay, so full disclosure, I have never skateboarded or surfed in my entire life. So, excuse if I'll have a lot of wipeouts. But you know what? I think I've got it now. So, if you doubted me before, watch this. I'm gonna let it rip.
And just like that, I'm off, shredding the waves like I'm in California. It'll take a while before I'm doing crazy tricks and jumping 10 feet in the air, but for now, this is just as exhilarating. If you'd rather have a seat while being pulled across the lagoon with a cable, then perhaps consider the cable tube as well. Although, don't expect to be relaxed while you're on the tube, because the cable operators like to get a little cheeky every now and then. After having my fill of adrenaline for the day, I decided to wind down and go kayaking. And this is where I could finally just take in the sheer size of the lagoon. 800 meters from end to end, the lagoon is as long as 50 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Not only is it big, but it's also highly energy and water efficient, operating in a closed circuit. Needless to say, there are enough activities to keep you occupied for the length of your stay, right here in the Crystal Lagoon. After my adventures in the water came to a close, and the day turned to night, I visited the Patio restaurant, located right by Crystal Lagoon, to indulge myself in some of the resort's finest delicacies. And what fine delicacies they are! Seafood is no doubt Bintan's specialty, and tonight, we're served with a whole platter of the stuff. From delicious freshly caught prawn, to fish, to even squid, all served with a variety of savory sauces. Senior sales manager for Natra Bintan, Miss Purnama, accompanied me for the dinner tonight, and she shed some light on how the dinner was caught and served.
We collaborate with local fishermen here, and then to make also their life and then our establishment sustainable. So we collaborate with them, and then we also are doing collaboration with a local vendor. So they are able to make sure the freshness of all the ingredients they serve. We're also able to make sure and ensure to the guests that we serve fresh and then best quality of food in the restaurant.
All of this that I see right now is freshly caught from Bintang.
Correct.
Oh, that's amazing.
Indeed it was. So amazing in fact that we couldn't just let the food sit out in the cold for too long. So we dug right into our meal. And with that ends our first day in Bintan. But although the day may be over, our adventure has only just begun.
See the beauty? Only on See Indonesia. See the beauty? Only on See Indonesia.
It's a new day in sunny Bintan, and today we're planning a trip to the Sabong River to see some of Bintan's iconic mangrove forests. The starting point of the tour was only a short drive away from Natra Bintan, and the tour itself will take roughly 1 hour. And after receiving a quick brief about the route from our guide, and putting on all the necessary safety equipment, we were off.
Now, my guide tells me that 400 hectares of this place are just filled with mangrove trees, and of course they're really important to reduce abrasion from the sea. And if you come here on the tour at night, you will be able to see lots of stars and fireflies, but we're going at day, which is no less beautiful. Hopefully we'll get to see a lot of animals, because apparently there's a lot of wildlife here hidden in the mangrove forests. So hopefully we get a glimpse of some of that.
The mangrove trees in Bintan's coast are an invaluable part of the ecosystem. The strong roots of the mangrove hold the soil firmly to the waterbed, preventing erosion. As we continued our course down the river, we stopped by a famous local joint, the Kelong Mangrove Restaurant, to try out some local cuisine. This restaurant, as you can see, is situated right by the riverside and serves some delicious seafood. Some familiar, and others you might not have ever tried or even heard of before.
Alright, so this is gonggong, or sea snails if you prefer. These can only be found apparently in the waters around the Riau archipelago, specifically in Batam and Bintan, and we're gonna try them out. And I'm no stranger to eating snails, but this is a particularly new kind of snail for me. So as you can see, the little appendage, it's already sticking out there, the lower arm there, saying hi. So we're just gonna pull out the gonggong through the appendage, right out, and there we go. That's the whole thing. It's actually huge now that I've pulled it out. And it's usually served also with some chili sauce. So we're gonna dip that in. Bon appetit.
The gonggong had a nice chewy, meaty texture, and the chili sauce added a tangy kick into the mix. As one of Bintan's most iconic dishes, it's one I recommend you try if you happen to be in the area. With our stomachs full, we continued on with our river adventure. Along the route, we came across the remnants of an old charcoal kiln, or rumah arang in Indonesian. These igloo-like structures were used by the local people back in the 80s and 90s to create charcoal by burning mangrove wood. A practice which has since been banned by the government in an effort to further protect and conserve these vital natural resources. As we headed deeper down the river, the mangrove forest slowly crept in from both sides, and it is here where we'll find the forest's many inhabitants.
Okay, so we're entering the rainforest part of the tour, and this is where we're supposed to see a lot of snakes. Haven't seen any yet. Hopefully we'll be able to see at least one. Yeah, from a safe distance, of course. I don't want any snakes on the boat. Oh, actually, hey. We got one actually right there. See that one? Wow. Look at the yellow. That's gorgeous. I think it's sleeping though. Might be asleep. Oh no, it's awake. I can see its tongue. I'm sure it won't jump at me though.
The black and yellow striped snakes we're seeing here are commonly known as ular kucing, or cat snakes. These little fellas are only mildly venomous, so their bites are generally not fatal to humans. But I imagine it still doesn't feel good to get bitten by one of these guys. But thankfully, these snakes are nocturnal, so they're not too active during the day. These forests are home to not only snakes, but so many more wildlife, from majestic kingfishers to agile macaques, many of which live deep within the forests, which can make it difficult to spot them during the tours. But this just highlights the importance of not only preserving the existing mangrove trees, but to continue to plant more for a sustainable ecosystem. And so, we end our mangrove adventure and sailed back to dry land. When we arrived back at the Natra Bintan resort, the sun was slowly creeping down the horizon. And as the air got colder, what better way to stay warm than with a wood fire from a grill?
Alright, so it's been a long day. It's pretty exhausting. I'm tired, the crew's tired. So what better way to end the day than have a in-tent barbecue? We're having that right now. Everyone's cooking, having a good time. Cooks really fast, so we're almost done. After this, everyone's gonna get to eat. All the crew gonna have a big meal together. And what a way to end the day, huh? Let's go.
The assortment of meats and veggies on offer was incredible, a worthy supper for a long day at work. However, our adventures in Bintan are not yet over. We have a lot more on our plate tomorrow as we get down and dirty on some ATVs, learn to shoot some arrows, and venture into town to taste Bintan's iconic street food.
See the beauty? Only on Indonesia. See the beauty? Only on Indonesia.
After a relatively relaxing day in the mangrove forest yesterday, I figured it's time for a little adrenaline rush by riding some ATVs.
Okay, right, first time riding an ATV. How hard can it be, you know? I know how to ride a bike, you know, and this is kind of like riding a bike, except the bike's really big and it has 4 wheels. How bad can it be?
That initial assessment was only half true, because no bike is gonna go through the kind of terrain I'm going. At least not as easily. It took a while to get my bearings, but eventually, I handled this baby like a pro. Well, I wouldn't go that far, but I did get comfortable enough to go full throttle. Good timing too, because in the middle of the route, we came across a large patch of relatively even ground. And I just had to take a detour just to see what this bad boy can really do.
Woo! Did you see those moves? Not bad for a first timer, eh? I want to go again, to be honest.
Unfortunately, that was all the time I had with the ATV, as I had to move on to the next item on our list, which involves me doing another thing that I've never done before: archery. Though I've gotta say, I'm not that unfamiliar with archery. I've seen plenty of movies and played enough video games to know you just gotta pull the string back a little bit and release. Simple. However, to prevent any unnecessary bodily harm, I had to take a short beginner's lesson with the resident instructor.
Alright, so I've received my first lesson in archery and managed to hit a couple of points as well. So I'm now delusional enough to take on my archery instructor. We're gonna each have 5 arrows. We're gonna see who gets the most points. Let's do it.
And so, the challenge begins. Unfortunately, I was way off the mark for my first couple of arrows, which honestly, I don't understand why. I was doing so well during the practice rounds. Nerves, I suppose.
Okay, I managed to get a really good one with the last arrow there, making my total score of managing 10 points. Masnya berapa? Go! It was close though, it was close. Mantap, Mas.
All this physical activity has gotten me working up an appetite, and so I took this opportunity to venture out of the resort and visit an iconic Bintan street food spot, Akau Potong Lembu. Established all the way back in the 60s, Akau Potong Lembu is the go-to spot for locals and tourists to savor a variety of scrumptious street food. It was a little unfortunate, however, that a large part of the area was closed due to some renovation work. But despite the limitations, my mind was still boggled by the sheer amount of options available. Thankfully, I've got someone who can help me with that.
Alright fellas, so we're out on the town here in Tanjung Pinang at the famous Akau Potong Lembu with the only local on our crew, Mas Ari, who is also our driver. So we're gonna be out here looking for some nice street food to eat. So he should know exactly where to find the best places to eat. Yuk bang.
Now, you may be thinking, what in the world does Akau Potong Lembu even mean? Because even if you understand Indonesian, the words don't necessarily make sense. Well, here's a quick history lesson for you. The second half of the name, Potong Lembu, simply refers to the name of the street where the market resides in. But the first half, Akau, is actually the nickname of a person. And no, he wasn't some larger-than-life hero or war veteran. He was just a humble coffee seller who was extremely popular with the locals. Eventually, his business expanded and more stalls started popping up alongside him. And eventually, Akau Potong Lembu was born.
3 makanan atau minuman favorit lu di Akau Potong Lembu, kok apa aja nih?
Sop ikan, bakso goreng ikan dengan mie goreng.
Goreng.
Minumannya teh tarik.
Teh tarik?
Iya.
Selain teh tarik apa ya sini?
Teh obeng.
Teh obeng?
Iya.
Ya udah kita cari teh obeng ya.
Siap.
With a clear checklist of what we wanted to get, we set off to find the vendors. And I've gotta say, I admire the kind of controlled chaos they've got going on here. Motorcycles whizzing past, the sound of sizzling pots and all manner of food being chopped up into bite-sized pieces. It feels like it shouldn't work, but it does. You don't even need to wait for your order. Just tell the vendor exactly where you're sitting, and just go check out the other stalls while you're waiting. Just make sure you don't forget about your order. And not too long after, all our food has arrived.
Ada mie miskin goreng, sop ikan, ada otak-otak, bakso ikan, bakso kepiting, bakso telur ikan. Itu minumannya teh tarik.
Teh tarik, oke sip. Kalau gitu, kita langsung makan aja.
Siap, boleh.
And so, we happily dug into our meal for the night. Everything was absolutely delicious, but more than the food, the atmosphere was just incredible. You can tell by simply taking a quick stroll around the area that Tanjung Pinang and Bintan as a whole is an incredible melting pot of cultures. An island of beautiful contradictions that is just waiting to be explored. And I've got a feeling our adventure here in Bintan is only just beginning.